Good afternoon, ladies and gents, and welcome to this episode of School Business Tech. As I'm sure a lot of you know, the ecosystem of school business platforms is growing broader and broader and more diverse. With tools now for every job, are school business professionals really getting the efficiencies they're promised, or now are they just spending time moving data from one system to the next system? In this episode, I'm going to be talking to Mark Tadman of School Business Services about their vision for true integration between systems. We're going to discuss the merits of taking an agnostic approach to integrations and the benefits of competitors working together. So if you might be wondering why I've got Mark here, well, Mark has actually worked in the education sector for over 20 years. Originally starting in EdTech and ICT, Mark co-founded School Business Services back in 2007. Now supporting over 1,700 schools across the UK, Mark and his team of 90 plus staff at SBS are passionate about helping schools save money and get the best from their systems. Mark is also passionate about driving innovation for schools that deliver a genuine operational impact. True systems integration is the key component in the money, vision, people, processes, their strategic approach to whole school transformation. Good afternoon, Mark. How are you doing?
Yeah, great. Thanks, Ryan. Yeah, really well, thank you. And thanks for the opportunity to talk about true integration today.
Yeah, and it was great, because we chatted online, we had a bit of conversation about this, and I thought this is such a poignant topic, with everything that's going on with systems, with COVID, with lockdown, with technology taking over our lives, this kind of subject matter that around true integration, and we're going to use that word, those two words specifically today. So can I start really by my first question and just ask, what do you actually mean by true integration?
Yeah, good question, and one that my team challenged me on as well. I mean, why we had to call it true integration as well is probably a question for people, because the word integration has been bandied around in education and systems and software for a long time now. And what we want to do at SBS is actually be different and make schools' lives easier. That's the number one idea around this, and that's actually around the four key systems in education. We want to just join them up. We want to remove the button pressing, the CSV download, upload, and all that time wasting and that room for human error. We want to eradicate that by true integration. And that really is as simple as pressing a button from one system and that data appearing in another system without any other effort.
Yeah, and so just to expand on that point a little bit more, I mean, what other types of integrations are there, and what are you seeing? You mentioned about CSV. I mean, is this such a big problem in the sector at the moment?
For me, it is, absolutely. I mean, we're trying to add value here, as we're trying to help the schools actually remove time and effort into their processes. And the systems that have been sold to education for the past 10, 20 years are very good systems. There's no doubt about that. But they are not joined up. They don't talk to each other. And there's a lot of claims and I would say even untruths around integration, when really it's more work. It's actually downloading into a CSV, manipulating data, then uploading it into another one. That's not integration for me. The integration needs to be seamless and it needs to be at the press of a button. And that's what we're trying to provide here at SBS.
And I think you're absolutely right. Like, the more that we would call, this true integration where systems are actually talking to them, there's an interoperability between them. I mean, it's less error, it's less potential for mistakes, reduction in admin, it stops that heavy lifting, if you like, between systems. So, if I could just go into my next question, which was, so tell me, what does true integration actually mean for MATs and groups of schools, and what are the benefits that they would experience if they've had all this true integration and all their systems were working together?
Yeah, so we've our vision is by the end of 2022 and schools and trusts and groups of schools can purchase a system knowing that it will link to another key core blue chip system. So that's our vision. We have our own budgeting tool, and that links to Iris Financials. So automatically, Iris Financials is the leading accounting package in the country with 3,500 customers. Our budgeting tool links to that. So at the press of a button, you've got the chart of accounts flowing seamlessly between the two systems. That's just one example of integration. We want to build upon that where you've got HR and payroll that links to these other systems, and then of course the MIS. So you've got all four key components that a school will have in the back office talking to each other seamlessly. And it's not beyond us here at SBS to do that. We don't own these products. We own the vision, and we own the innovation to do it.
Yeah, and I think the technology's there. I mean, listen, you know, if you're in the commercial sector and you're using products like Xero, QuickBooks, you know, there was an absolute suite, a library of all potential add-ons, not that they sell, but that, you know, that partners that they collaborate with that use the API to stop that manual intervention. And I think, you know, it's not unreasonable, right? The technology's there to be able to do that in the education sector as well. Can you ask, you know, like, do you think, and we've talked about this in an earlier episode, but the big eight, do you think there's appetite for the, you know, the players, the key players in there to kind of work together?
Great question. And this is where SBS being agnostic and independent can really add value, because I don't see that. I really don't see that at this time. So you've got your big players in the market that have got their own suite of products that don't even integrate themselves at the moment. So, but they've got a roadmap to build that. I get that. But SBS being agnostic, we want to link to all of the good systems, not just one, all of them, so that schools have choice, trusts have choice. If they've got a HR and payroll system that they like and they love, I mean, EduPeople will be released is going to be released by Strictly Education. It's going to be a great system. It's one system. It's not an integrated system. It's one system. So SBS budgets will link with that. We're going to provide choice. We don't have to link to our own products because we can be agnostic and operate independently in the market like that.
Yeah, and like you said, it gives schools choice. They can choose the provider that they want to work with. Some might have like real big, you know, an emphasis on customer support and user support. Others might be light touch, but reduced in price. You know, so people could be making, or schools could be making choices on systems that suit their needs. So, yeah. You know, if I'm a school business professional, and there will be lots of them watching this today, and I want to try and put pressure on these other system providers to actually, you know, be part of this agnostic, collaborative, true integration movement, what do you think I need to do? Like, you know, what can I do tomorrow that's actually going to help this build momentum?
I'll let you into a little secret, Ryan. One of the key things I first learned in sales about software was, if your product hasn't got it, say it's on the roadmap, because how can you get around that? And if I was a school business manager, a CFO or CEO, I would be saying, I want to see in writing your roadmap, and I want to see that if I'm buying this product, it will link to another product, maybe not tomorrow, but in the future. And all the good companies out there, Iris especially, they've got that in their roadmap to link their products, because it's the sensible thing to do. It's going to save schools money, and it means that you don't have to have this intermittent piece of work that can cause all the errors and the human error. It's such a logical thing to do. So I would be asking for, when I'm procuring a new system, I want to know what it links to. I want to know that. I want to see that in writing. And if I'm putting a tender out, I would like to say, okay, I'm buying a finance product. Okay, where does it link to budgeting? What are my options here? Because I don't want to create more work for my team. I want to remove work from my team.
So it's really about openness, really. Software providers being open about their roadmap, kind of holding them accountable, publicly accountable. Yeah.
Yeah, that they've all got plans to do it. So there's no reason why they couldn't put that in writing. It's just, I think some things get pushed to the back of the pile around integration. Again, why have we called it true integration? Because it's going to do what it says it should do. It's not going to create more work for you. It's going to solve your issues. So the companies that have got the products, they will integrate at some point. There's no doubt about that. But it's 2021. Why is it not here now? Why is it not here now?
You know, absolutely. And I suppose that leads me very much onto my final question, which I ask everybody who joins us on School Business Tech. But what are your predictions for school business technology over the next 3 to 5 years?
I would like to see one system perform everything for a back office for a school or a trust. I don't see why that's such a dream. I've seen it internationally. where a school, independent products can provide all kinds of services under one banner, one product that does everything for the school, whole school systems. That has to be the future. That has to be the. There's no reason why we can't do that.
And do you see that being one provider, or do you see that being multiple providers that are all kind of collectively working together?
I think the market needs choice. I think there'll be some for the smaller schools there'll be a product, and for the larger schools and trust there'll be a different product. One size doesn't fit all. I think there'll be a suite of products, maybe a smaller, medium, and a larger kind of product. But for schools and trusts to be buying individual systems today in 2021 and then having to type the data into another system is wrong. And I just don't. I think we can get. I think we're better than that.
And absolutely. So we're not Lord of the Rings kind of, one system to rule them all, but more of a collaborative body of people that have a collective idea about what how systems should work, and they all focus on that true integration piece for interoperability.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the DfE are now standardising the chart of accounts for schools and academies, and hopefully that's going to be a good thing. That's a tiny inspirational bit of hope, the chart of accounts standardising that for schools and trust, and we think that will become mandatory. There's no reason why other systems couldn't follow MIS and census, things like that.
And I suppose if I could just push you on that point, because it's really interesting. And with there were organisations like Bector, if you and I will both know them, who are kind of championing these kind of things. Do you think the DfE, and I noticed the DfE have just started up a digital team, do you think they'll be involved in these sort of leading these initiatives, or do you think there needs to be another body formed to help give that vision and that strategy?
You would hope so. You would hope so. I mean, I think that's what, as I say, the chart of accounts is a good idea. It's taken a long time. All the main providers were invited in, but they were invited in to standardise the chart of accounts. There's no reason why schools can't be helped by the government for MIS providers as well, in terms of census and that data being extracted automatically rather than relying on the schools to do it themselves. It's again, it's not advanced technology that we're talking about, but there still seems to be a long way to go. But the government having everything that happens for schools at the moment, they're asked to do a lot. But if it's made mandatory, it tends to happen quickly.
Couldn't agree more. Mark, thank you so much for coming on today. Really, I mean, you can just tell that 20 years of experience, you can tell all the schools that you've worked with is coming across in that insight and that information you've got. So really appreciate your time today. And for all our listeners and guests, please check out Mark on Twitter, add him on LinkedIn, go and check out the SBS site for more information about the work that they do. Thank you, everyone. Don't forget to subscribe to School Business Tech on YouTube. Until next episode, take care.
Thank you.